Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Jacob Holston. I'm going to be talking about the pay what you want business model. It's number 36 in the book. Um, so it's pretty simple, it's pretty interesting, and a little fun. So let's jump right into it. So I know when you're sitting at home right now, you're all up on the screen. You're like, "Oh, Jacob, tell me what is the pay what you want business model?" And I'm going to tell you, it's when the customer chooses the price. So it's similar to like an auctioning system, I would say, where you have customers that are competing with each other to try and bid for a certain product or service, and they get outbid. There's none of that, but that power that the customer actually controls over the vendor is still there. So, in our situation, in a pay what you want business model, it's going to be a one-on-one interaction. So it could be either a business to a business or a business to a direct customer. It doesn't matter. It's when the customer chooses the price, that vendor is already prepared to accept that price. There's no form of like uh, a bidding between customers. It's just one on one, and uh, that price can be anything from like $1 million to it could be free, it could be $1, it could be 1 penny. It's up to the customer. Um, which you would think that would present a lot of free rider problems, but it really doesn't. The author notes that that doesn't happen very frequently, and we'll talk about that more when we get further into the presentation. So let's move forward, continue the flow with the origins of the pay what you want business model. The book mentions that it's been here forever. Like it's been here so long, guys. Once you really understand what it is, you can start noticing it on the streets and on the way to class. It's everywhere around us. So it's like, for example, if you go get food um, at a restaurant, when they ask you for a tip, you pay what you want, right? So the book mentions that tipping a server at a restaurant is a form of the pay what you want business model because you're presenting yourself to that vendor of the service, which is your server, and you're paying them exactly what you want and what they you think that they deserve. So it's a great way to hold their a restaurant to hold their servers accountable for giving good quality meals, dependable service, things like that. Also, the book mentions a restaurant called One World Everybody Eats. It was founded back in Salt Lake City in 2003. It's the first like mentioning of like applying this business model financially. Um, so what it was is that a guest would come in, they would have their meals. They operated the same as any other restaurant. Uh, they have their drinks, their food, and then it's time to pay. And once you get the check, you can either you basically just do what we've already talked about. You pay what you want. So some guests would come and pay only $1. Some guests would come and pay like $20 to $50. Um, but there is also another option for people who are like me, where they don't want to spend any money. You can always volunteer your time at One World Everybody Eats. So basically, once you're finished eating, you could pay with your time by going to the back and like washing some dishes, or you could work in the garden to help prepare that next meal for the next customer that's going to be coming along. Uh, and that's what One World Everybody Eats. That's how they use the pay what you want business model. And that just really exploded. People started using it everywhere. They started applying it everywhere. So it's just like these innovators right here. If you ever heard of Radiohead, they're a pretty famous band. They released an album called In Rainbows back in 2007. Uh, they released it for free, and then the people who were listening to it, they were asked to give a donation to help support the band. Uh, that's a cool way that I thought for music to be music transactions to be carried out. That's really cool. Another example is Noise Trade, which I've never heard of them before until I started looking into this into the chapter. Back in 2006, they launched and it was pay what you want business model. So basically, like unsigned artists would come. So it's like a music thing. Unsigned artists would come and they would promote their music on their website. So they upload their songs, any albums or things like that. And then people who come on the website can actually download those songs and get like contact information, but it was in exchange for donations. So you would donate towards the artist that you were listening to. So it was a great way to just really support the artists that you're really interested in, ones that you're going to be on your music library, on your Apple Music, on your Spotify. Um, and that turned out to be a great form of like um, just some like marketing, and it became a great source for like just lead generation for them. Uh, Also, it helped the artists get they also help support the artists. Once they started like exchanging contact information, there was instances where customers would actually go and like have testimonials about how the artists like their music changed their lives, or they would spread the word on social media. So it became a very great marketplace for artists, musicians, and customers of music, listeners of music to come and just interact with each other. Back in 2010, there was another company called Humble Bundle that launched the pay what you want business model. So basically, Humble Bundle, it's a website that offers like a lot of collections, like online collections for like video games, ebooks, and like music. So like maybe like anything from like a toy to merchandise, posters, shirts, stuff like that. So basically, you would get a number of incentives that would come from like donating a higher price. So if you donated like say $1,000, maybe they would list your contribution on the website. They have like a lot of positive incentives for their donations, but all their actual product that they would give to their customers was a pay what you want model. So they could a customer can actually get those same merchandise, same toys, t-shirts, collectibles for free. It's cool, very cool, uh, and it works in a very similar way as the other two did. Moving on, we're going to be talking about like when to use this business model. When do you use the pay what you want business model? So the most important fact that you need to know is that you need to know that your customers understand the value of the product or service you're offering. So whether that is like you're selling tennis shoes or you're selling like uh, helicopters. I don't know. You want to make sure the customers understand what they're getting, like understand the bang for their buck that they're getting. Um, the more reasonable a customer is, the more successful your product's going to be or your service is going to be. Um, you can apply it to a percentage of your offering, but not the entirety. That tends to not work as well. So like for example, a consultant might list a very specific service that they have, either for free or for like a pay for what you want service. And the idea is that the bulk of the profit from the other services are going to complete and like pull weight from that service that you're offering for like a smaller price. Um, you would think there's going to be a low probability for free riders, like we mentioned before, but it doesn't happen that often based on the fact that in these instances, the customer always understands the value of that product or service they're getting. They're reasonable in understanding that uh, the things that the company had to go to like manufacture or market that product or service to them, it costs money, and they understand that to make money, you gotta spend money, and so they're willing to spend money on that company who spent money for them, if that makes sense. Uh, so that is the end of my presentation.